Today in DC Dark Legion, there's a new banner, and the Superman banner has been removed. I'm not sure if they'll bring it back in the future, but my Superman is still too weak anyway. The new banner today features Scarecrow. I already talked about Joker before, so today I'll talk about Scarecrow and analyze which banner you should pick. Now let's get straight to the main topic. About the detailed information on the characters in the game, I already covered that in the tier list video, so I won't go into the skill details of these two villains here. Oh, and they just added a fifth skill for the characters, so I'll do a quick analysis of Scarecrow's strengths and weaknesses. As for Joker, I'll probably save that for another video. Alright guys, let's jump into Scarecrow's strengths first. So, Scarecrow's all about that spiritual DMG. Every one of his skills hits with spiritual damage, which is perfect if you're going up against enemies with crazy high physical defense. Now here's where it gets even better. He can shred the enemy's men, which is basically their mental energy. His first two skills can cut it down by 24% and 30%. That means weaker magic attacks, weaker healing, and overall slower skill usage from your enemies. Huge advantage right there. Next up, let's talk about the Scare debuff. This thing is super clutch. Every stack of Scare reduces the enemy's damage by 7.5%, and it stacks up to 4 times. That's a fat 30% damage reduction if you stack it fully. Enemies basically end up tickling you after that. And check this out. Once you hit 4 stacks of Scare, the enemy goes into mental breakdown. They literally shrink and get stunned for 2 seconds. Hard crowd control like that can completely flip a fight if you time it right. Another big win, Scarecrow just gets tankier the longer he fights. Every time he pops his ultimate, he grows bigger and gets a 30% damage reduction buff, and it stacks up to 3 times. That's 90% damage reduction. By the end of the fight, he's basically a walking fortress. He also hooks up his Arkham's Most Wanted teammates right at the start of the battle, giving them a 50% men boost. That early buff can be a huge tempo swing if you're running a team built around them. And don't forget, Scarecrow's all about that AoE life. His skills hit enemies in front of him, in a fan-shaped area, and even in a full circle. So he's amazing at spreading damage and debuffs across multiple targets. Alright, now let's hit the weaknesses real quick. First off, his debuffs aren't a sure thing. The first 2 skills only have a 50% base chance to land their effects, so sometimes you'll whiff, and yeah, it can feel pretty rough when that happens. Also, most of his debuffs don't stick around forever. They last about 8 to 10 seconds. You'll need to be smart with your timing to really maximize their impact. And remember that hard crowd control for mental breakdown, it only kicks in after you land 4 stacks of Scare. So you can't just expect instant stuns. You'll either need to keep hitting the same target or use his third skill to stack it up fast. Plus, his tankiness is tied to his ultimate. If you're not getting your ultimates off consistently, he's not nearly as beefy as he could be. Oh, and enemies with high effect resistance? Yeah, they're going to give you a hard time. They can resist or even completely ignore his debuffs. Example, someone like Stargirl can just wipe those bad stacks away, no problem. All in all though, Scarecrow's looking like a beast. A top-tier spiritual DMG dealer with nasty AoE, strong debuffs, and crowd control that can totally mess with enemy teams. Plus, he just gets tankier the longer the fight drags on. You'll need some good timing, and maybe a little bit of luck, but if you play him right, Scarecrow's going to be a serious problem for your enemies. First impressions? This guy's a straight-up menace. I already talked about Joker before. You can check out my video between Joker and Superman, Who Should You Choose? Or I'll leave the link in the description. Now, I'll go straight into telling you who you should pick between Scarecrow and Joker, and then we'll talk about the banner. Alright guys, so you're trying to decide between Joker and Scarecrow in DC Dark Legion, right? Well, it really comes down to your team setup, your playstyle, and what you're aiming for. Let's break it down real quick. Pick Joker if you need some crazy damage over time. His Joker Venom stacks all the way up to 100 times. And yeah, the longer the fight goes, the more insane the damage gets. You want to spread effects like wildfire. Once a target hits 50 stacks or gets knocked out, Joker spreads those nasty debuffs to other enemies, super good for applying pressure fast. You're running an Arkham's Most Wanted team. Joker actually gives a sweet ATK buff to same faction allies right at the start of battle. You like single target assassinations. Joker loves hunting down heavily poisoned enemies and finishing them off before they become a problem. And finally, if you're not too worried about crowd control, if your team's already locking enemies down, Joker's pure damage is gonna fit perfectly. Pick Scarecrow if you seriously need hard crowd control. His mental breakdown can straight up stun a key enemy for 2 seconds. And trust me, that can completely swing a fight. You want to shut down enemy damage. His scare effect makes enemies hit way softer, which can save your team when things get spicy. You want to slow down enemy skills. Scarecrow can reduce men, making it harder for enemies to spam their abilities. You're also building an Arkham's Most Wanted team, but this time he buffs your team's men, helping your squad pop off their skills even faster. You love AoE control. Scarecrow isn't just about locking down one guy, he can mess up a whole group with his AoE debuffs. And if you like getting tankier as fights drag on, Scarecrow's ultimate actually gives him more damage reduction the more he uses it. When it comes to choosing a banner, there are 2 factors you need to consider: the duration and the legendary heroes who have a 50% increased chance to be pulled when you draw. As for the timing, Joker's banner still has 13 days left. This means if you're only starting to draw for Joker now, I wouldn't recommend it, because as a free-to-play player, you probably won't be able to level him up to Blue Star. However, if you still want to get him just to complete your team, you can give it a try. If you're a paying player, then you should continue focusing on Joker to make him really strong first, and later transition to Scarecrow. They can even be placed in the same team with Poison Ivy, which makes for a very powerful lineup. Now, speaking of the legendary heroes with a 50% increased chance from the 2 banners, on Joker's side, in my opinion, only Mara is strong. Meanwhile, on Scarecrow's banner, all 3 legendary heroes are strong. So if you're a new player without many strong heroes yet, you should definitely choose Scarecrow. As for me personally, since I like collecting characters for my future content creation, I'll try to get Joker first, then move on to Scarecrow. Alright, that's it for today's video. I hope this guide helped you decide which banner to go for. Whether you're aiming for Joker, Scarecrow, or planning your pulls carefully, good luck with your draws. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.